Hi, welcome again to another edition of Market Analysis for today, July 22nd of 2024. I'm Giovanni Benacourt, analyst, trader, and educator with Vantage Markets. All right, let's get right to it. Well, we saw that President Joe Biden's decision to end his bid for re-election on Sunday could have big implications for markets that traders are only beginning to process. The immediate reaction seemed to be that stock futures rose, bond yields retreated, and the dollar fell. That could have been an incremental unwinding of the Trump trade of higher bond yields, a move that presumes a Donald Trump presidency with higher tariffs on imports and big tax cuts will be inflationary and thus necessitate higher interest rates. To be clear, this isn't because markets are pulling for either Trump or the Democratic nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, since most likely at present to win the vote in November. Now, markets don't have political preferences. It's just a cold calculation of what a victory for either side will mean for stocks and bonds. If traders assume inflation will be faster than previously thought, it's natural to sell bonds because inflation eats into returns. Those higher interest rates can, in turn, bolster the dollar because it means dollar-based investments will get higher nominal returns. That explains the bump in bond yields and the dollar after Biden's unsteady debate performance at the end of June. And that is the bell. Today I'm almost recording live. And I was saying, that unsteady debate performance at the end of June, the dollar index have fallen since the debate, perhaps because of concerned high tariffs under Trump might reduce trade, which makes a broader point. There are several things weighing on traders' minds at the same time, and it isn't just politics. Foremost is the outlook of Federal Reserve interest rates. A cut in September should, or other things being equal, push down on bond yields. Inflation data this week and the Fed's July decision next week will add more color to the picture. Now, there are also companies' events to consider. CrowdStrike is still hurting from Friday's technology outage. Verizon, Alphabet, and Southwest Airlines reports earnings this week. So we're going to be having some volatility from them coming out of them. As always, there are various factors competing for influence on share prices these days. Politics counts for more than usual, but needn't be the dominant consideration. With that being said, let's take a look at what we can speculate to see in today's market fluctuation. So we look at the daily candlestick chart for the Nasdaq. As you see, 20,000 has turned into a resistance level. As you can see, this level around here, a nice volume node. So again, it's going to sustain itself there. And basically, last week's levels are going to sustain itself. Let's see if today will continue. We did open with this tiny gap up. Okay, we are within yesterday with Friday's trading range. All right, so this could mean a balancing itself out of the markets, and will look to sustain itself in around these levels, and then make an attempt to break or to return above 20,000. Then you want to have to obviously understand which companies might be helping this thing happen. So obviously Alphabet is in there. So we'll probably see some movement in the Nasdaq. So to the upside as far as the S&P 500 goes. So the S&P today, we have also opened up with a gap up in trading within Friday's range. The same token goes here. We see a curve, okay, and on the RSI, implying that momentum to the upside is picking up. But we have obviously the medium in the Bollinger's Band, which acts also as a resistance, dynamic resistance level for it, and it's basically pointing to around 5,600. So that's a round number. So let's see if today market fluctuation will take us up to that and above and beyond. So it's long. With that, the Dow. But let's talk about the level of support. The resistance is a bit too high. I'm gonna assume 56.40. And then if it does fluctuate lower, 55.40. So about 100 point difference there, spread. Okay, now let's go to the Dow. Take a look at the Dow. So let's bring the 41,000, sorry, will be resistance. Let's lower this puppy to about there. Okay, so also a small gap up. So let's go with the momentum. The Russell, let's take a look at the Russell. Russell had done quite an amazing movement to the upside. We can here use a perfect tool for you to take a look at the extensions levels. So if we were to say that we want to find a tool that can measure this previous move, right? Let me use the from the beginning, from right here, and we want to measure all of this move, okay, and get an understanding, will that happen again here from where it's at? So we can choose the high point, which is here, and where we are, the low, and use the Fibonacci extension numbers, or the Fibonacci numbers, to give us some levels. So 0.38%, and then the golden ratio will be 0.618%. So can we say that is the Russell ready to make another move to the upside, or another leg, okay, to the upside? Where can we find resistance? 0.5 or 50% is not a Fibonacci number. So there you can use that as reference, okay? Let's just take that out. And obviously going long, buying. Crude oil seems to be in a terrible, as just pushing lower. $80 is gonna be now the level of resistance. 77 will be the target. Most likely we're gonna be getting there. We are below the 50 marker. So obviously getting lower in 30s and 40s. So that implies obviously that strong momentum to the downside. So in the trend is to the down. So selling it. Nat Gas seems to have rebounded. So Nat Gas is coming back with a vengeance, right? So 20, yeah, about 240, $2 is gonna be the support. So buying Nat Gas, going long. Gold, let's take a look at gold after having such a wonderful run to the upside last week. Well, half of, because the last 3 days of last week were in the red, but it did make obviously new highs. So it did fluctuate below the 2400. So let's see how much lower would it go. Let's see if we can do a reversal, a trend reversal, counter trend trade when market comes towards the medium, which is this line right here. And will the market do a reversal? Will it come down and reverse from here and just do a higher movement toward the 2400, or will it continue to trend lower? So some places that you can probably see is you see this node. So you just kind of measure out a line across that. That throws us out to what? 2360, somewhat of a round number. So that's basically if the market obviously continues to move lower. So basically we place our level of support there. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna bring down my level of resistance to 2420. Okay, so selling gold, silver, the same token. How much lower? 28.5 could be a better level of support. 28.5. Selling silver, copper is getting close to obviously to the level that we had last week. So let's just bring it down to 410. I think it's going to continue to trend lower. So selling it. Bitcoin has finally fluctuated above the 67,000. So 70,000 seems to be that target 64 support. So buying Bitcoin, the euro taking a beating. So 108.5, same token. Let's just lower that to the double top created last week. And then, so the euro, what can we see at the euro? I'm thinking, I'm looking at it, and I think it's just gonna be sideways trading. So I wouldn't be trading it just now. Pound, looking to, okay. So it had fluctuated towards all of Friday's, market range, and it retreated. So I'm thinking this is I'm looking at this and perhaps gonna take a bump up to the upside. But obviously it depends on what the dollar index will do, because if the dollar index actually fluctuates towards the 104,400 and breaks it, trace above that, we're going to be seeing the pound and the euro and the metals continually moving south. So that's it for me today. Have a great trading day, and I'll see you tomorrow.